The secret to chess is not moving, by the way. That is one of the little known secrets. Not moving, more thinking. See everything about your possible destination before you move. Always look back and see what you could have done better, what you were planning on doing, and what succeeded, what worked, and what didn't. Always look back at your games, review, and learn. Studying the game in its entirety is the way to go. You have to develop all parts of your game equally in order to increase in strength, because opponents are going to be weak in various areas of the game, and if you can win 2 out of 3 of the areas of the game, then like on American Idol or any of those voting survivor shows, you will move on to the next phase. If they're attacking your rooks, threaten the queen. If they're attacking your queen, threaten checkmate and pawn. And in all cases, you can counterattack with check as an in-between move. Counterattack, the #1 tool, recommended by grandmasters.
It's really all about your diet. You are what you study. And if you study great players, you play great chess. Playing blitz with Hikaru Nakamura, or regularly playing blitz with someone who literally shows you glaringly what you're doing wrong, like that. There is no substitute for the old-fashioned, just getting slapped across the face when you make the mistake. Just no substitute.
The problem is that right now, I believe that Ron is the better player, and nothing's going to change that. The only person that can change that is right here. If you honestly put anyone on a pedestal, then you're already going to have an experience. You're going to have some difficult experiences against opponents. If you put anyone on a pedestal, then you might as well just hang it up, because you're not going to be able to beat them. You have to take the bull by the horns, find their faults. They are human like anyone else. And that's all you have to do, is raise yourself up. A certain comfort zone toward playing correctly, grabbing space, an equal amount of space, having equal chances to win, not letting yourself fall behind in any manner, way, shape, or form by gambiting a pawn unsoundly, like in the Stafford Gambit, but simply playing good chess. So many people out there who are studying openings instead of learning how to win the game. In other words, if you are studying the London or any opening variation, how much will that really reward you toward winning a game versus learning specific strategic methods, maneuvers, plays, or honing your endgame skills toward pocketing further points and thereby gaining rating points. I cannot recommend Chess Informant publications highly enough. Despite the nature of the modern era with computing and ChessBase, you can actually receive a digital copy along with your subscription to Chess Informant and receive the benefit of all worlds. And of course, if you invest in other Chess Informant products, such as the 1000 Best of the Best, you'll be able to pick apart the annotations of the 1960s and improve your chess in that manner.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, grasshoppers. We're playing in the 6-round Swiss Killer Chess Training Club Championship Qualifier Heat number 1. Now, I have not done anything in particular special for this particular event. I hope I'm not echoing. It feels like I'm echoing. Mildly concerned about the audio. No music intended, no backseating, please, as this is a relatively serious competition. I am going to play my normal game I'm going to play my relative mainline game. I'm not fooling around like I do normally on stream with birds opening or any of those things for the most part. All right, I can't say that I'm not going to move my f-pawn. But needless to say, I am going to allow Grenfell reversed. I am curious about if this particular line will hold up with a move down. Let's find out. Will this line hold up a move down? We still are playing relatively entertaining chess. I am also adjusting a relatively new layout to this particular one. So I'm going to just lock everything except for the one that I want to unlock. And while my opponent is thinking, I'm going to drag this down just a little bit so that it's above the board window. Thank you for your patience in this matter. And we will bring that up just a little bit so that it's right at the mark. I know my opponent has moved. I'm not at all concerned about that, but we will bring it in on this front, on that side as well. And then we will bring it up from the bottom. We can see the friends. We know that this is exactly the size of the screen that we want it to be. I could have pre-moved that one. I don't believe in pre-moving in real events, by the way. I don't recommend it. I'm along the same vein as many other young students. Learning is the primary goal. Now, is my opponent really a Grimfeld player? Obviously, perhaps they only reached the exchange variation as white. They weren't expecting a Russian defense. It is fascinating in that manner. I do sort of want to bring up a separate screen if needed. But let's just check our layout. I'm not checking chat. For those of you who are interested, I am not, I repeat, not checking chat. Let's put that above, now that I can see it a little bit more clearly. We have the voice help, the voice setting. I'm not sure why I have voice. Why do I have a voice on my playing platform? This doesn't normally happen. It is fascinating in that respect. I'm also enlarging the screen enough so that I don't see the chat on the left. I don't want to be distracted by the chat on the left. Although I should take it down just one notch to make sure that there are no messages to me that I cannot be streaming while playing the club championship. I promise I'm completely on the up and up. I do have several screens, obviously, but I'm only going to be looking at the streaming screen for the most part and the playing screen. The three monitor screens are up to my far right. So if I look all the way over there, then I will be able to see a certain amount of chat. However, I could just take off my glasses and then I wouldn't be able to read anything. How about that? Would that be amusing? We're just going to play this as we might normally do. Only this time I have to play queen to d6 because of the threat that white has driving my knight back, which they could do if they wish to. So my opponent is working on a certain amount of time consumption, whereas I am an extremely practical, intuitive player. I will calculate when I am in massive trouble. How about that? I will, of course, calculate when I am in massive, massive trouble. My opponent did not, apparently, wish to follow up with the normal channels. I am going to speed along with my development more than anything. We are 12 minutes in to the stream. I'm very happy to say we're doing okay. I've turned off the speech chat for the most part. If any speech chat does occur, it will be surprising because it rarely ever works. So, objectively, this looks good. I think I'm going to lock in this live main screen right where it is. Looks fine on the bottom and on the top. So, what is my opponent up to? He is attempting to bother me in this respect. There's absolutely nothing unusual going on here. Business as usual, developing our pieces. White, by the way, is playing the Grunfeld with one extra move in hand. That one extra move in hand seems to be negated by the awkward setup that he started off with A6 on the theoretical 7th move / A3, followed by B5, followed by knight to C3, which does not make sense. So there's something wrong with this picture. Checking most of our broadcasting capabilities. If I take any time on a move, it will be because I am in trouble or my opponent is in trouble. Aside from that, I am a very, very intuitive player. Most of the moves speak for themselves. The chess will speak for itself. And now it seems as though I can actually recapture with the bishop, which is a rarity, to be truthful. It is a rarity to be truthful. Now, I'm extremely tempted in this particular position to just castle queenside. So bizarre, right? Castle queenside and give up bishop pair? Or do I grab the space and leave his bishop at? I guess that seems to be the ideal means in this particular setup, is to let my opponent play a move that will bother him to no end. And we will see how he wishes to accomplish anything here. So my first instinct is to take that pawn. I don't wish him to reinforce his knight in any way, shape, font, or manner further. I can no longer play the move bishop takes d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5 because of knight takes e5, discovering a pawn my queen. But since I am black in this particular position, I am not going to question what's going on here. Now my opponent has to decide whether or not he wants my king to be in a position of disability as far as castling goes. All right. And now I guess we are going to play it a little close to the vest. I thought for a brief moment about trying to keep the extra pawn, but I've no value the two bishops more. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, now it's gotten very complicated, in fact. Much more complicated than I anticipated. So we'll see. Mm. All right. So if we play knight to d4, bishop to d4, I'm sorry, knight to d4, knight to d4, e takes d4, or bishop takes d5, e takes d5, knight to d4, knight takes d4, e takes d4. I love my pawn on c3. I really do. I love my pawn on c3, and I think I would do almost anything to keep it. So therefore, if bishop takes d5, queen takes d5, queen takes d5, e takes d5, knight to d4, I am actually doing very well. So one more time, if I do knight to d4 first, knight takes d4, knight to d4 first, knight takes d4, bishop takes d5, knight f5. That's very awkward. So let's take on this square first. We will solve the problem of our rook on the h file later. As much as I just want to start attacking him with h5, h4, h3, we're not going to checkmate him because we have a different advantage of sorts in this position. And now, for something completely indifferent, we don't really have anything here, do we? Yes. So now we have a very unique moment where I'm torn on the c3 front. Pardon my language for I am mildly worried about the pawn reaching the d7 square before I do. Queen takes queen to b6. Queen takes b6, bishop takes b6. Or bishop to b6, keeping the queens on the board. The a7 pawn seems to be hanging, but I don't like my lack of development. I just don't. So we're going to actually unblockade the pawn for a brief moment in time. And we will see what we get out of this mess. As each of us has a passed pawn, possibly on the 6th rank. Possibly very disturbingly. I feel mine is slightly more dangerous because I am able to control the situation a little better. Yes, yes. As much as I would love to move the same piece twice, I don't see it happening. There's always a 3-second increment, so my opponent will never run out of time. The time control is 15 plus 3. It is a Swiss system. All right, now the moment of truth. Not much of a choice here. I'm hoping to push my h-pawn twice and bring my other rook out on that diagonal. So, it is almost time for some Gegenspiel. There are moments for tactics at this present time. And then there are not. Can I go that way? I don't think so. Let's give him an amusement value. Chakaruski. And now for the moment of truth. All right, let's try it. You got me, sir. You got me in my own time trouble. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Arc, 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 arc. I was very sad. Let's go back and look at what we just saw. We are black in this position. This ruins my streak, obviously. First time I've lost at this opening as black. I've played it almost every year except for 2024. Since 2023. A3 is a new move, interestingly enough. All's well that ends well, just relatively equal. And then here, bishop f6, right? Bishop f6 was supposed to be played. What do we have in the viewing audience? Not many. That's all right. Just another day at the office. So queen b6 was dubious, and I actually achieved. My opponent actually achieved something, but rook on f to d1 was wrong. He should have followed through with d7. That was really, really wrong. King to g7. How would this change anything? Because he can trade on c3. I'm sure that this was a blunder back into the mix, back into the fold. d7. And they should have played bishop h3 first. But here, I simply have rook to c7 because I can also bring the last rook into the mix. Silly me. I did see this possibility. I didn't look at it properly. But white is clearly better in this position. White is clearly better in this position, and he deserved this win. Definitely deserved this win. His pawn was better than my pawn the entire time, as it turns out. So this gave away all of his advantage. Had he played queen to b3, the bluff was on. Queen takes, and now bishop d4 was really silly on my part. Really, really silly. I don't know what I was thinking. It was not cool. Rook to b8, obviously. I could shift the two rooks and relocate both of my rooks to more active positions because I didn't have a plan for my worst placed piece, which was unfortunate. And bishop d4 tossed the whole advantage. Bishop e4, I did feel tossed it all back because I felt like this was just as cheesy as anything else. And now queen to d6, queen to c6, and I should have played queen takes g3 check. How could I miss such a thing? Oh my God. That was the way to take advantage of his time trouble. Indeed, and this is just like almost game over, it seems like. Queen to c6, -8. Crazy that I had to let that happen. So we have one game still going from the 32 participants. This game is still going. I'm just going to view this one for a moment. No commentary, mind you, because this is a live game and we are not on a delay. That was a good move. I was joking, by the way. I thought I was joking when I said that was a good move. I doubt that these players are watching my stream. In fact, I know that no one is watching my stream. So that's good. Yeah. And Black resigned. Really? He got back just in time. That's crazy. And the knight just has to go back, right? Fire rated player 1. Who would have known? This is my chance to get coffee. These are rated, so we can check to see how our rapid rating is going on the main page. We are down 2 rating points because of our loss. The same number of rating points we lost in Blitz today. I don't know for a fact that I'm going to be able to play in all of the heats. Oh, actually, they're all on a Sunday. So this looks good for the Sundays. February 15th, which is next weekend, a President's Day weekend here in the United States. February 22nd, and as we get along, and March 15th. Let's reload. Need to refresh this page because the time is not always correct. Debating on listening to music here at the same time. Yep. All right, one more time. We are not fooling around. I'm debating on what my best move is here in these positions. What is my best move? So in theory, in a Swiss system, you do not need to make your first move in a Swiss as long as you are back in time to make your first move. So let us check to see what we have going for us just now. Killer chess training. I'm going with D4. I am going to avoid most of the sharp E4 variations for the moment. That's interesting. My opponent is super sharp. I love it when my opponent is super sharp. I do have to know my place here. And now for something completely indifferent. Tournament strategy, goal-oriented strategy. There's a slightly more pronounced advantage in space, which is not necessarily the case just yet. But we will see what we get out of this deal. Such a strange move. Mm. Uh-huh. Mhm. Mhm. See if the B7 pawn turns out to be a weakness in any way, shape, or form. Yes. I don't really want to move the same piece twice. But at the same time, when he plays F5, I do wish to be able to play knight to C5. So how will this work? Knight to D4 is a really nice tactic, right? Knight to D4, ED4, ED4, and my knight on E4 is under a lot of pressure. And he also has bishop takes D4, which could skewer. But he also has rook to D8 at the same time. So let's just adjust accordingly and see if he has anything to say about this. I like the emote that he has. I'm not sure what it is. What is the emote flare that he has? It looks like it is an amoeba. Maybe a resounding defeat in this will cause me to attend my classes more regularly, which I am not doing. I'm not scheduling my attendance in class as regularly as I would normally wish to. It's just too bad. So we'll see. So far, we're a little bit more active than our opponent. but he has more space. This is a common problem in many of these games. I am going to one more time try. Am I winning material out of this deal? I don't think I am. I really don't think I am. I don't know who you think I am. I don't know who you think I am. I am. So we're attacking B7. This was our primary goal. We had no choice in the matter. Although I was expecting this knight to E5 on the last move more than this one. Alrighty. So here, check there, check everywhere, check, check. We're going to see what we get out of the deal. Once again, tactics are the mainstay of the operation here that is fooling us, as it turns out. So now, the knight on C6 is hanging, right? It is hanging. I think we have no choice but to try to take it and see what we get out of the deal. We'll see what he has and hope that there are no tactics here that will bother the daylights out of us unnecessarily. I mean, his tactic is obvious. I don't think he has a choice in the matter, but there are two ways to go about it. So he's probably trying to think about which way is best. And I am just going to capture, 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 capture. Maybe it doesn't work at all, or maybe it works just enough. Now, at least, however, I have tournament games to analyze. If needed. So my original intention is not as good as what I had hoped, because he has knight takes e2 check. So I'm in for a penny and in for a pound. So far, I have taken one rook. And going the other way could have been an option. So we'll see. Right now we have two rooks, a bishop and a knight, and a queen each. A queen each, and he has one rook, two bishops, and a knight. We'll know in a moment whether or not this is correct. And we do need coffee. We're running low on coffee. This is rather tragic and terrible at the same time. Check. He retreats. And then what? I take. My knight is hanging. This bishop could be hanging. What do we really have? Now, I did expect this to happen not unlike this. So at least I'm not down too much material here. So, in order to obtain the right amount of counterplay, I am going to need to give up a rook. Is that it? Or am I? Is it really that good? He's got two bishops and a knight for a rook. And I did not think this through as clearly, obviously, as I wanted to. So, king takes, bishop takes, rook takes. I just don't have the same chances. Even if I played bishop takes, even if I played bishop takes g7, I don't seem to have the same opportunities that he has, which is awkward. Down a pizza. I'm going to learn the hard way, obviously. I'm going to learn the hard way. So black is mildly better until he plays queen g5, which I found very surprising. Then we start grabbing space. Everything is all well and good. We've got an outpost square. Got the more active rooks. And then I blundered with knight takes b7, but there's absolutely nothing to fear here. If I just play h3, I'm just slightly better. But really, folks, really? I played knight takes b7, and it's dead equal. So knight to d4. I reacted immediately, and I should not have. How have I, if I play queen takes d4? If bishop takes d4, knight takes. Rook takes c1. Bishop takes c1, I don't know that I would have found. You could try to protect everything this way, but I have to recapture. Thought I was recapturing with the pawn. If I recapture with the pawn, then he can take my knight. So if I recapture with the rook, queen takes c1, check, bishop f1. No, don't pin yourself, John. Don't pin yourself. And if queen to b2, rook takes d5, queen takes e2, and after g3, that should be perfectly fine, right? Just don't get mated, John. Yep, indeed. Nicely done. I have to move this Zoom meeting that I have to tomorrow at 10 a.m. Let's see if I can do that real quick. Hey, where'd you go? What is Zoom notification? Starting off 0-2 as a lower rated player. Not bad, not bad. Let's take a look at the other games. There are 6 other games. I want to. What is today? Today is the 8th. This meeting only. Optersfield Blitz usually happens at this time. Rainier has no Spanish roots. What? All right, let's see if we can examine this. We will just zoom in on the 6 remaining games as I take my coffee break. How about that? We're going to zoom in on the 6 remaining games. I hope everyone can see them clearly. Let's make this just a little bigger. We are 0-2. Not great, but we'll have to do. And we will change the background. How about that? Control 0. We'll have to change the background to a darker background for intents and purposes. Or water. We'll remain at water. How about that? And then we can see the 6 remaining games as needed. Whoops. See if I can adjust this accordingly. Just a smidgen smaller. There we go. I don't want the fellow on top getting on the unnecessary press. Can even show, whoops, not quite, who's in the chat. And we will post the game link if anyone wants to watch the games in real time. First of 6 killer chess training championship 2026 qualifiers. And we will pin those messages so if anybody wishes to observe, they can. All right. I'll be back. I'm not going to put us on this as I get coffee. Six-round Swiss. Check out the amazing interest. Oh. Let's do it. All right, let's see what we got. Uh-oh. That's strange. Is it that far over that I can't see it? Oh, fine. Let me fix my headphones first. As though I'm actually hearing something, which I'm not. But as my results have proven. Oh, how clever. Oh no! He might actually get away with this. No, he's not getting away with it. Moment of truth. I guess it's just a matter of who's still mating whom, right? Oh, insufficient material. What in the world? Reload. How did that happen? $248 other players. So I've never been in this position as white. But I have been in this position as white, and I'm doing very okay in this position as white. And that's how it transpired. I see. Fair enough. Fair enough. We have 1:30. Let's see if we can figure out our pairing, but I doubt it because I think that these, I believe, pairings are done on, or the rankings are done in a little bit of a performance-based process. While the rankings are done by ratings. So let's see how many players are ahead of us with 0. First off, there are 24 players with more points than us in the 32-player field. 2 have withdrawn, so that leaves 26 out of 32 gone, which means that there are only 5 left. 5 left. Someone's going to get a bye. The lowest rated player is going to get a bye. We have a 1735. The 1716, in theory, is going to get a full point bye. The 1755 and the 1700 are going to be playing us, depending on colors. The only time they can alternate is by color. 2 out of 2. Things are getting serious. Next level trading. Interesting. When was that? Noel's tutor. Fair enough. Back. Round 3 started. I'm already following Jakob Akkard. I am Kitty Cat. Killer says Padawan. and Firmino. All right, so we follow the top 6. Let's reload so that we can get our game pairing. Again, we are in this position where we are answering very, very religiously. Maria Querca. Maria Magdalena from Romania. Wonder how well she knows Bob. Or if she knows Bob. She could know Bob. Bob is good. Bob is great. Obviously, if we get another reverse Grinfeld, then we are going to have to do some studying. Somewhere along the lines in this group class, someone got it. Well, make sure our coffee warmer is on. I have quality chess books all over this place. Well, isn't that interesting? So he's treating it like the early, she actually is treating it like the early Queen A3, like if white were not a move ahead, Queen A6 would be stopping black from casting in this position, which is very fascinating. But we are going to develop very naturally. We're going to put the maximum amount of pressure on the D4 pawn if we can. I have nothing to hide from my opponent. They know what's going on. I know what's going on. Everything looks good across the board. And we are down 1 subscriber, if you can imagine. Let's just do it. Let us pretend as though we are attacking something. I don't know who you think I am. I don't know who you think I am. I am. Well, isn't that interesting? Now, Queen A4 check. SQN Pati, Y66, thank you for the follow. I would also appreciate the love on YouTube as well. I seem to be down one person since, thank you for the follow on Kick. These are the socials. No backseating while we are in battle mode here. My D4 pawn is very backward. It is somewhat annoying. So twice now I've had tactical opportunities that I haven't taken advantage of in my games. It is slightly annoying. Slightly annoying to say the least. I don't wish to unravel these disparate knights at all. But we do have a nice pawn center. Well, isn't that fascinating? I'm afraid that this could get pretty ugly quickly. I'm not sure where that queen is going. I am so sorry. I'm so very, very sorry. Namaste. We got to have a moment of silence here as we did not get out of the opening phase of the game. I am so sorry, Maria. Doesn't accept any new messages. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch. What happened in this particular game? I played the same opening twice, right? That crazy that I've played the same opening twice? It seems crazy to me that I've played the same opening twice. I've also been on the white side of this opening. And now we have to wait for 529 other players. I'm going to have to wait for Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning when no one is on Lee Chess because everybody's watching Titled Tuesday to catch up on my A08 Zukertort opening reverse Grunfeld. I've played this quite well for 2 turns in a row. And it might be time for me to dig out the old ECO code just to figure out what the original theory was versus the theory now. Knight to c4 can save the queen. Yeah, it looks like it. Knight to c4 can save the queen. You're only down a piece if you find knight to c4 in this position. That's the move, knight to c4. But it's already a terrible position. I just need to see what was I supposed to be doing here. It looks like I did everything correctly. Even bishop e7. Knight takes f3, knight takes f3. I'm glad I didn't play the rather tragic move knight e4. That would have been awkward. That would have been very awkward. I could see myself moving the same piece twice in the opening and then getting dumped on, unfortunately, because my opponent just steps out of the pin. And all I've managed to do is highlight my own weakness by trading off all of the minors. That would be no good. And you do have to keep busy to be able to avoid losing this pawn on this square. So that's awkward. Awkward, awkward, awkward. Please follow on the socials. Please check out the socials. Don't be afraid to message me about training. I am going to try to create a training program and plan for everyone. And for many, this will also include killer chess training recommendations. Absolutely. So here, I didn't expect anything but queen to c2. And more than likely, I was going to try to either safeguard my knight or exchange it off. And of course, if they take back with the knight, I feel very comfortable. Castles, b3, and of course, the idea of playing c4. Let's go and check out the other games. Whoops. It's not showing up among my top 10 teams. I never play in Elite Chess Swiss events, so I'm not going to get a chance for that. Back. Let's go to the main homepage. The 620 Elite Chess Bundesliga, 526 teams. I thought I did that one, but okay. I don't know if I'm going to join in the 360 arenas, but I do want to stay in that team. Bullet Shield Arena is for all of Elite Chess Bundesliga. If I were to try to join this, whose team do I need to leave? You must join one of these teams to participate. Then why am I getting this notification? If I'm not a member of one of those teams, why am I getting this a notification? I don't want to get this notification. I do not want to get or wish to get this notification. There are a few teams that I'm interested in. 83 teams. The house Discord server. Chess Must Stay and Friends. I like it. Introvert Chess. I like it. All right. Meanwhile, though, we're going to head back to our killer chess training the old-fashioned way. All right, so we've got that out. Let's go back. And in this particular endeavor, killer chess training, 9 games ongoing. Let's check out the top game for a moment. We are going to limit our commentary because this is a live game. We don't wish to influence either of the players with our terrible suggestions. There are some obvious observations as White has the advanced pawn chain. And Black seems to have played, let's see if we can guess the opening that this came from. I would happen to say that this came from a Dutch or a Budapest gone wrong. Let's see. Ready? Okay. It is a form of Dutch. It's like a Dutch versus the English. A reverse Grand Prix attack. I could have also guessed that one. Jacques skills against Initiative Total. Initiative Total. These are the top 6 playing each other. We can also try to take a look at the other games that have finished and how badly they went, especially in the 32 variety. This fellow, WCM, Miley Cyrus, decided to cut out early. Standard. One of the reasons why people play knight f3 instead of knight c3 early on. And one of the reasons why people answer d4 with knight f6 in order to not allow c4. Is that we get these really luxurious exchange variations. This one has now become a Rogozin. Yeah, knight f4. Going after that bishop is a lot more standard. And black has to start throwing some patties. Yeah, the computer liked the knight f8, or the likely positional. Everything's still very equal. But black is attacking. Oh no, black appeared to be the stronger player right up until this move. And they could have simply just taken on d4, and doubled. And everything would be very, very normal. We're going for broke here, huh? Trying for the discovery on that because of the... And this just wins a piece. Rook takes a5. Got a little fancy. That's all. Just got a little fancy. Who is white? Who is black? Black was the lower rated player, of course. They ducked that after only one game. I don't know what their expectations were. But it's a good question. This position is not pretty. An event. Oh, sorry, I was going back to the tournament. So where are we in this mess? We have improved our position a little bit with a win. Just Padawan. Let's tone this down just a notch or two to see if we are in this moment. What do we have here? What do we have here? Thank you for the follow. We have at least we have achieved our subscriber bonus for this day. Thank you for subscribing to YouTube. Thank you for the 10 subs on Twitch. Thank you to MD Night Zero for gifting 10 subs. Amazing, sir. I appreciate it so much. Namaste. So one side, I'm not sure who has the safer king here. The queens are off the board. If I had to choose, I would say that this came from a Najdorf. That is our guess. All right, are we ready? We still can only see the first 4 moves over here, so the moment of truth, it was a classical Sicilian, bishop g5. Very traditional, but for the fact that pawn is still on e7. I see. I like the classical Sicilian from Chess Padawan. Isn't that interesting? It's going to leave him with the bad bishop. Well, it's gotten even more interesting. Wow. Was that really needed? I guess it was needed. Just cheerio. We may need to turn on our fan. As the heat is working in my room, the window's open in the other room for the cat, even though it is minus 5 degrees outside here in New York City. Oh. Yeah, so the tricky part is with the window open in the other room, this floor, the heat is on. Heat, so that, let's put some light on Dinglerin and we're 1 out of 3 is the update on the score. We're 1 out of 3. This does look very, very threatening, the H pawn. Maybe we should go to another. Oh, there are no other boards. Let's see who's leading this tournament. If Jakob Akkart is going to qualify for his own event. So the top two plus the under 2100 from these events. And right now, there are no under 2100s in this particular line. It's between me and Rafa. He's got 1.5 points. And everyone else with 1 point. So Rafa, 2906, is definitely leading. Rafa, I remember you from a Coach Andreas class. So the Killer Chess Padawan versus Chess Cheerio. I should check my records against all of these particular participants. I don't understand what he's waiting for. Is it enough to push the pawn and win the rook? Or does he just play bishop takes f6, rook takes d6? I don't know. Oh, I apologize. I said I wasn't going to talk about this game in real time. Good news is no one is watching. Chess Chiro taking it to another level. Using your time wisely is key. Uh-oh. This is bad for Killer Chess Padawan, I believe. We cannot go backwards. And if we can't go backwards, fine. All right, that's the move. Threatening mate on the back rank. and it may be repeated. Uh-huh. Maximizing the use of his 3-second increment. Oh no. Yes, that is the in-between move from hell. Boo. I don't know what you picture when you hear the name Killer Chest Padawan, but I'm afraid that I do know what I picture. Mhm. Avoiding the instant end to the game. Oh, boo. I actually thought that there was another very quick end to this game, which there could still be. So I was expecting more from it. Huh. Mm-hmm. Ouch, ouch. That will get the next round started. Who else do we have at the bottom? We had Malcolm, who's still in the mix. Miley, come back. You're not going to get anywhere by not playing. Symbolic plays the King's Indian defense with e5. Went on to win. Malcolm also played Dolphin Mango Latte. Dolphin Mango Latte actually played the Exchange Slav / London with no teeth. What's going on here? On knight f5 was the problem. Rook takes e3, knight f5. Interesting. Oh no, what are we backing away from this for? My instinct was to try g4. Try to reclaim this e4 square. Check on the 8th rank. So you don't have king h7 because of rook h8, knight takes f7. Good tactical eye, at least. We're not following for that. And unfortunately, now they just take a knight and they take a rook. That's the end of that. And then they went back to the club championship. All right. And we are white. Kritzkov, who has beaten someone. So we have to be very careful about this. Very respectful. Obviously. Better games to study. I will probably study every game in this tourney. Jacob Agard. There are easier ways to cheat in the homework and better games to study. I am playing e4. We're not going positional this time. Oh, are we playing that? Fine. And the winner is same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Oh no. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. We're going to go with a slightly better secondary sideline that also leads to a slight advantage for white, avoiding the endgame variation in a roundabout way as best we can. I love playing the Caro-Kann almost as much as I love playing chess itself. The real secret is to love playing both sides of it. All right. We are looking pretty good on all three fronts. Make sure that we are up and running on all three fronts. Good. Streaming on Kick, YouTube, Twitch, and we will be posting some content reels to the socials. Can't believe I was missing Andy Woodward's birthday on my birthday calendar. Interesting. Interesting. Do I wish to get into trouble? I don't know. I hadn't thought about it much, but I could get into trouble on that front. Absolutely. We could absolutely get into trouble on that front. Kriskov. You can always cook better with Kriskov. We have to avoid exchanges against certain types of players. Aha! Jakub Alkard is heading off to the candidates tournament and to Solverken games. So if we are halfway done with the tournament and we are somewhat through this event, I don't know if I like this at all. Fine. I'm going to barnacle as much as I dislike barnacling. I was going to get dynamic, but let's not get dynamic until we know what we're doing. I really wanted to play against the c6 pawn, but it looks like those days were well behind me. I don't necessarily know. I really would like to get a knight to this square at this stage of the event, but it's not happening, right? It's just not happening. Let's try to avoid reading the chat. Well, isn't that interesting? I mean, that's my instinct. My instinct is to grab more space. And then we have a route to get to the e5 square. We suddenly have a route. A route. A route that's on fire. A route. A route. Oh. A route that's on fire. How appropriate is that? Here it takes, there it takes, everywhere it takes, takes. Activity. All right. And this was part of our plan to get our knight to that square, right? Is there a way to tell if pre-move is enabled? I do believe that Godakemsky was right about pre-move not being a welcome option. Really? Dudovich? Interesting. May I? Interesting. We may not be able to win this one, but we aren't going to lose it. We may not be able to win this one, but we will not lose it. Knight takes, rook takes, knight takes. Ooh. That was a good counterattack a minute ago. That was a good counterattack a minute ago. But not a good counterattack afterwards. That was crazy. Who would have known that game was going to end that way? I do want to go back and look at my game, interestingly enough. So in this particular position, obviously bishop g5 and knight f3 had the same amount of vigilance and determination. Bishop e3 and bishop g5 are also very interesting, but here, a long time ago, I thought that bishop to b5, which had to be met by rook to c8, was perhaps best. But instead now white gets a slightly better game. And I did not play it properly. Or did I? Knight takes d5, e takes d5. And again, I can be slightly better with this, that, the other thing. I went for bishop takes c6, which gives up the bishop pair, which is no good. Now I've improved black's position by improving the value of their pawns. Queen to b6 is good for black. I was purely fishing here for bishop to a5 after any knight movement on my part. So they sent this one in. I probably just needed to return. But I did play the most aggressive move. I did play the most solid move. I probably could have started with h4 on this side of the board. There's nothing going on in this position. But instead, I thought I'd get frisky, try to improve my knight to e5, and it actually paid off. I could repeat the position just once, but I chose not to. c5 is fascinating, but he tried to take the pawn, and after rook on a to c1, had I played rook on e to c1, was it better? Queen to b4, knight e5? Yes. Now that I see it, I see it. And then it all went down. It all went down, 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 down. It all went down, 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 down. I did plan on trying to play d5 at the end. So if knight, rook to d7, I actually thought that I was going to have something here. But yeah, it's always nice when the opponent blunders, but that's not going to happen. Just got to play a good game of chess, trust the process, and let the result take care of itself. So we have a 6-round Swiss, and the under 2100 candidate at the moment is Rafa again. Rafa again. God help us. We have 2200s in my group. And Rafa should be facing someone slightly higher. What is Rafa's performance rating? My performance rating, I don't think it matters. I think it's the Sonnenberg-Berger, right? So I have 1 point for a Sonnenberg-Berger tiebreak, as my opponent, Christoph, has won a game previously on the Killer Chess Championship Club, Killer Chess Training Club Championship Training. previously on Master Chess Dojo. I need that. I do need that. Skip recap. And skip recap. That's what I need. So he got a full point buy. That was my thing. I was so petrified of Kriskov because I was sure that he had won a game. Well, it's not crazy, but true. So interestingly enough, we have 5 games going, of which we're going to focus on these. Killer Chess Padawan versus GM Rainier Chess. We could actually go for that one. No Mercy the King. I Am the Kitty Cat. I like that name a lot. I Am the Kitty Cat. Oh, who do we need? Who do we see? Rook on the 7th. Who have we played before? Litho Chess. Killer Chess Padawan. We're not seeing Fermio. I'm 0-1 against that fellow, of course. I'm 0-1 against that fellow. These guys are behind me at the moment. Is that true? So let's just take a look. True, I haven't played very many of these guys. No, those still playing. So my 2 wins are against players that are not still playing. I really need those tie breaks. It is vital to the integrity that everyone completes the tournament because the tie breaks are needed. Because the tie breaks are needed, it is vital that everyone tries their best in the tournament. WIM Raluca. She's never played. And it's true. All right, we're down to 4. Control 0. We can get to this one. I don't see how to make it smaller. Rook on the 7th and GM Rainier Chess at the bottom. Hopefully everybody can see these just fine. It's right above the box. Right now, the two bishops and 3 pawns each versus bishop and knight, the slightly more active king. Ooh. And now he transposed into a terrible, terrible endgame where that pawn cannot be stopped. Cannot be stopped. I'm telling you it can't be stopped because it can't be stopped. But maybe, just maybe it can, but to what cost? So if d3, king c1. And then he's down a king, as he cannot move his king. We just need to put this pawn on a dark square. Ah, nicely done. And the pawn promotes. So we don't have a choice in this matter. Yep. I'm not sure what I am the kitty cat is looking at. Maybe he's looking at is that it? So if bishop takes h3, then bishop d5. Is that the problem? So now bishop d5 is met by bishop e6. And on the other variation, we have rook and bishop and 4 versus rook, bishop, and 4 with 3 pawn islands. Jack Squalus. More creativity among these names, right? And the Rainier chess. Finally, the black king in Rainier chess is getting into the game. But at what price? Killer Chess Padawan has a very good position. Don't tell me they're going to agree to a handshake. Knight f4. Nope. Killer Chess Padawan is going for it. All right, now we are down to our final 3 games. We can hopefully shrink it just so. Well, hey. Are you kidding me? I can't do it. Because of the nature of my layout, I cannot do it. That's crazy. Because I have this box layout, it is behind the box at the moment. So, in any event, we may not need it. Oh, Rainier chess, forcing Killer Chess Padawan to demonstrate the bishop and knight mate. No pressure. You made it. Oh no. You had to run for it. You had to play the other way to have the only way out. Moment of truth, everyone. Moment of truth. Very good. That was the way that I learned it. That was the way that I learned it from Reuben Fine with the mate with the bishop. And reload. Control Z. Let's see. One game going. Still. Chesesquero. 25 versus 26. Wow. Bloodthirsty battle. Still White's turn to move. Oof. Oof. He was overworked like crazy. '89 rating point gain. We now have a 2,700 in the tournament, I believe. Or do we? He has no rapid rating yet. But what was his rating going in? That is the question. So he went to 1,500 to 2,200 to 2,583. Then he gained 89 rating points. Or did he? Plus 95. He went to 78. And now he is definitely going to be 2,700. This could be a good time to use the facilities. I'll be right back. Let's take care of this business before we have to do anything else. Well, that's it like. What? Yeah. Yeah. One more time. One night in Bangkok and the world's your oyster. Wearing my Chess the Musical. E4. OMG. What am I going to play as black against E4? That's terrible. What a terrible decision to have to make. I don't really want to have to make this decision. So let's see. Skynet. Let's put some light on the subject. All right. There's some light on the subject. Yes, we have Ding and Ukesh. Well lit. All right. So no mercy for the king. E4 players usually spend most of their time studying the Sicilian. I know that I promised myself I would get more Alechine's defenses in. So let's just see here. I do appreciate all of the support on YouTube. I'm not necessarily taking any backseating, but I do have to choose. I do have to try to decide what I'm going to play against E4. I literally have played all of the first 20 moves, and I even have 100% records with F5. Right? I think I have a 100% record with black with F5 against E4 as well. But not against 2109s with a question mark that attend the Killer Chess Training Academy. That is not what is going to be happening here. All right, we're going for it because black is better in many of the Sicilians. We're going to see if he has any courage. Oh, he does have courage. I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed. And now, and I will always love you. Mhm. Do I wish to do that? Seems rather strange if I wish to do that. I don't know. Let's play crazy chess just because we can. Our opponent wants to play crazy chess, so we're going to play crazy chess. Courage, confidence. We're not in killer chess training to be lower rated players anyway, right? None of us? Please check out all of the socials, including the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. All right. Moment of truth. Is he going to discover on my bishop on g4? Or is he just going to try to loosen up his king? And I'm going to offer him the proper condolences. So bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes. How about that? Should I or should I not? Told me once, but I also forgot. What is up with that? Can't believe I'm actually using time. What is up with that, right? What is up with that? You actually using time. Craziness, yeah? Actually using time. Insane. Just seems like craziness that anyone would use time in this position, right? Okay. And now for something completely indifferent. Where are you headed? Yeah, let's just centralize. We will worry later. Centralize. Worry later. Mm. Takes, takes, takes. Takes, takes, takes. It just seems like it should be easier than this, right? So if knight c3, knight to b6. Queen takes, bishop takes, knight takes, bishop takes d8, knight to c3. He's got his pawn back. It just sucks. But if I play b5 in this position, queen a6, right? b5 in this position, queen a6. Let's just give back all of the pawns. You can have all of the pawns back, provided that we trade queens. How about that? Deal? I feel it's a very, very esoteric and proper deal. In order to successfully sacrifice and attack, you should have 2 or more attackers than the opponent has defenders after the sacrifice, because it takes 2 pieces to checkmate the king. Must give back the material. It's actually quite crazy. I used to be 2 pawns up. So sad. Very, very, very sad. We'll get over it though, right? We'll get over it. Just business. Nothing serious. Nothing too crazy. I believe he can escape. So here we are. I might actually keep 1 extra pawn. In one of the variations, I might actually keep 1 extra pawn. But what if I don't keep 1 extra pawn? What if he accidentally jettisons a piece and all the complications? It is very hard to see. So this is what we somewhat expected, right? Do I have a choice? I could run for it. No, but it looks as though it's exactly the same. Chess. All right, this is actually the variation that I was concerned about. It was actually the exact variation that I was concerned about, but we'll have to live with it. Just wasn't sure which way the cookie would crumble in this line. Do I want to attack his rook first? No. My knight white, why go to the b5 square? Mm-hmm. At least we're showing our opponent a little bit of respect, which I do not normally do. I really do not normally do that. It's rather crazy that I do not normally do that. But someone has to do it. Who would have known that he would have been quite so considerate? Chess. All right, moment of truth. I really hope that No Mercy for the King obtains the best possible result. But I'm not sure if anyone with a question mark should be worthy of the under X prize, right? Finally, I got my bishop active. Finally. Back to the analysis board here. Let's see what we got. What opening did we choose? I can't even recall. It was a very lucky opening. I couldn't remember. I couldn't decide. I've played every possible first move as black. So match just just black. So I've played the Carl Khan 100 games or so more than I've played the Sicilian. I really wanted to play a French, but I just wasn't feeling it because I have such a nice even number with the French. I didn't want to budge that 700. We need 11 more E5s to get to 600 and 16 more Alekines to get to 500. I have been working the death out of G6 lately because I've been inspired by Carissa Yip, who is easily the next U.S. contender for the Women's World Championship title. Easily. Carissa Yip, Alice Lee, hot on her trail. I would love to help Alice Lee in the coaching category. I don't think that I can help Carissa Yip because I actually see where she's stronger than me in all those areas, but I can help Alice Lee. As a coach, not as a trainer necessarily, but yes, as a coach. D6, 11 to get to 200, 28 to get to 300. We're getting there. We're getting there. I could have played almost everything. Oh, I'm not 100% with F5 anymore. Oh, no, I lost one game. That's so sad. I was 100%. I bet I lost my most recent game with F5. I had to have lost my most recent game. Let's take a look. Yes, I did. I played it in a bullet game against the 1951. And I lost it. Everybody else, no problem. But Sylvie, the Fred, did not appear in this game. So D5, black is possibly better. I know E6, by the way. But D5, takes is not what I was expecting. I was actually expecting him to play E5 and try to play very positionally. But he wants to be after my king, so this is all well and good. Queen E4 check is not thought to be the best move, but it is thought to be the best move in other positions. I'm glad that it worked, practically speaking, here. However, B takes C3, knight C3, queen A5. And after rook B1, my opponent is in his element. And I'm sure this is all book material and all what I do not want to see. And so he's playing the same lines as in the game. Queen E4 check. Bishop to G4, another double question mark move, and I'm practically dead lost. E6, I'm not helping matters any. And then suddenly he goes for his own thematic good. And I get the castle queenside. And suddenly the world starts collapsing around my opponent. It looks as though I chose the second best move over development. I just don't want that bishop or anything else coming out. So now we can play either knight F6. I doubt that he's going to be grabbing any pawns, right? Nah. But just in case he does think about grabbing pawns, we're going to consolidate, and we lured him into it. And then he blundered with bishop takes A7, and everything seems to be good. Knight C3 was actually the best move. I knew that I had to take. If he captures, I have 4 minor pieces and an extra pawn. Yes, this is probably what I'm going to do should I ever reach this position again. This would have been far more solid than playing B5. But B5 was a clear win for me. It says it's only minus 3.0 versus 4.5. But B5 was a clear win for me because I could see that this move, and I was actually expecting him to play something else. I was expecting him to play knight to B6 first and then queen to A6. But it would not have mattered. I was already analyzing this. And no matter what he chose in this position as he played it, We get to interrupt. And this is the winning move, of course, because his queen is hanging. He should hang on to his queen. I'm very surprised that he did not. Rook c8 was perhaps better, but I wanted to let him have this option so that I could play bishop here. And he fell for a hook, line, and sinker. And after this, knight to b5 was the best move. Knight to c3 was obviously the best move. Rook to c7. Rook to d2, you should be praying now. But obviously, after the move rook to d8 or rook to a8, bishop f6 is ending the game. That was very good. I was very lucky. It is better to be lucky. Well, we want to go bigger. And then I guess we will expand upon these three games. But where am I? I made it up to 12th place. And Rafa is at 2.5, and I am at 3. So it's all down to the last game. I wonder if there will be class pairings. I think there's a way to ensure that, but I'm not entirely positive. Let's go with I am the kitty cat. Very tedious rook and 3 versus rook and 3. Now we're talking. Let's find out the difference between a killer chess Padawan and an IM. We always wonder what the difference is between a grandmaster and an IM. Well, now we will find out, because this is a very intriguing endgame, with black having a double pawn island defense, yada, 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 with a good rook. If this could get to a king and pawn endgame, would it be winning? That is the question. Would this be a win if it were able to reach a king and pawn end? So is white actually threatening to play f4 here? I don't know. It's a very good question. I guess we're going to find out, because he let him play it. I wouldn't have let him play it. I would have played rook to b3 last move. I would not have let I am the kitty cat gain any more space than he had to have gained. Ooh. Wise, he said the blind man. I see. So killer chess Padawan saw right through the possibility of f4, and white was not threatening to play f4 at all. Bikini etol. With atomic weapons going off everywhere. Let's see if we go back, and we see that all the games have ended. Let's check on our first place standings. Are we going to make it to page 1? That would be a nice score. Let's see, everyone with 3 points. F. Menlo Candidate Master Stas. I don't know what color they're due. Let's see if we can see what color they're due. Stas is due for black. That's the higher rated player. I was just black, so I am due white. We'll see. I think I'm getting Stas. Let's check out Stas and see what he plays. Only because the other player with 3. Initiative total. He was just black and he's also due white. So I'm not getting initiative total. And I've already played No Mercy the King, so I have to play Stas. Or Fermio. Wait, what happened here? Reload. No Mercy for the King I've played. I was paired up. He's due the same color. And Stas. So we're just going to do a quick opening explore for Stas. Thought it was Stas was white. Stas plays E4, but I'm going to be white. Loves playing E4, although he's dabbled with G3, very few D4s. So Stas as black against D4. Knight F6, C4, G6, Knight C3, Bishop G7. What most people play, he's very rarely played this as black. That's so crazy that he's very rarely played the main line. And against E4, Stas is black, usually answers with E5. And against F4, he takes F4, Knight F3, G5, Bishop C4, G4, Knight E5, Queen H4, King F1. Does he really play G5, though? That is the question. Does he really play G5? So against E4, he also plays the French. All right. And against C4, he definitely plays the French. Fair enough. Let's go back to the main page, join the game. Now we've varied all of our opening moves, at least across these 3 games. Interesting. Oh, no. It was indeed interesting. That much is true. That much is true. I know this much is true. Can I play that way? I cannot play that way. That's so strange. Wow. What a great move, sir. What a great move. Mm-hmm. Am I checkmated or am I not checkmated? Darn it. Looks like I am checkmated. What a bummer. What a bummer. Qu'est-ce que c'est comme bummer? Qu'est-ce que c'est comme bummer? These two pieces cover each other really, really well, don't they? That's so bizarre. Interesting. How do we get them? How do we get there from here? So if I take with check and he takes, I don't know what I'd do, but okay. Oh no, he was supposed to take back. Can I do it that way? I cannot do it that way. Darn it. So if he takes and I take, that's a bummer. He's trying. He's trying. Without his help, I would have never survived this. How do I want to do this? Oh, I think I did it. I think I did it. I think I might have qualified under 2100. If I can stay ahead of anyone and or everyone, I think I did it. Let's just take a quick peek here. Jakob Agard, good job, sir, with your really untrustworthy 2400 question mark rating. I don't know about this, sir. Mr. Head of the Finate Traders Commission. Do not let Kramnik see that. Do not let Kramnik see that shifty thing. I bet you were not on camera. I will look around, though. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But for the most part, this is pretty crazy. I actually do not know how to enable emote only on a lot of the things. Thank you for following on YouTube. I managed to redeem myself with a strong finish, thanks to the opponent not wanting a draw. So let's see. Under 2100. Anyone? 1982. I seem to be good on this page. And I am a terrible player at Online Blitz. He finished with 2.5. I only really wanted to make sure that I drew to stay ahead of Stas and Rafa. Stas played the wing gambit against me. He should not qualify. And then it looks like everybody else, there were a decent number of players down there. A lot of decent players down there. And then people that did not finish the tournament, which I couldn't rely on because you must complete the tournament in a Swiss system because everybody's relying on your tiebreak points. In a qualification system where people are relying on you to complete the tournament, you cannot just give up. You have to try, and try again. You cannot give up. It is totally not fair. So therefore, I had to finish where I finished. Rook on the 7th can still push me down. I have terrible tiebreak points because my opponents did not complete the tournament or were just plain terrible. Whoa, my cup got burned. And I have a half an hour's break before my next lesson, which worked out well, considering that I am off tomorrow. The Killer Chess Training Club Championship. Please tell me I qualified. I hope I don't have to qualify every time. That's all I want to know. It's craziness. We have my good buddy, Nick DeFermian, playing as Rocky Wang. Rocky Wang. I wonder if Rocky Wang is I am Mark Ginsburg's son. I believe his son's name is Rocky. Tani is playing our good student, absolutely lovely fellow, always taps me on the shoulder when we're traveling into Manhattan on the subway. He does not let me get away. He's very kind and approachable. Tani, Aruame. His nurse, his mother also took care of my oldest daughter in a time of need at one time as well. So I'm very thankful to the entire family, actually. Is there a way to bring this one in? Oh, I know what I can do to bring it in on the side. That's what I can do. So first things first, we got litho chess and rook on the 7th. Right? Litho chess and rook on the 7th. Is there any way to get it to fit? No, huh? We either have rook on the 7th or chess. It doesn't seem to matter. All right, fair enough. So we're going to try to shrink it. And in this manner, we can have perhaps half of the games, 4 of the games, 6 of the games. No way. No way. Oh, no way. Poor Chiro. So Chiro, when did he duck out? Chiro lost all of his games and it reversed all of the results. That is very crazy. So it only really affected him for one game, right? He would have been behind Killer Chess Padawan unless Killer Chess Padawan also benefited from Chiro. Let's check out that game. Black resigned, white is victorious. All right, so in this particular instance, knight takes d4, queen takes d4, queen a5, h6. This wouldn't be the nature of when things start to go south. At this moment, we're examining the Chiro's assumption of cheating. Basically, it is black's turn to move. He plays a5, which is perfectly acceptable and perfectly normal. It is white who wins this game. So I'm just looking at white's moves now. Bishop to b5 check versus knight to b6. Okay. Knight to b6, yes. Bishop takes d7 versus knight takes. I agree. This is a very normal human move by white. And in this particular position, I didn't see anything at all that was untoward. Bishop g7, h6, c5, c6. That's not the right move. C takes d6. Rook c6. Bishop check. At this point, I actually saw this endgame happening myself. This was not a big deal. It certainly wasn't this game that got him. So for the most part, that was not the game. It only takes one game, honestly. So that was not the game that was in question. We have to look at Chess Chiro. Killer Chess Padawan, he had beaten, right? I believe he won this game against Killer Chess Padawan. So aside from him winning the tournament, as a candidate master, no less, he's a candidate master. I usually beat candidate masters, so I'm not entirely sure how he can. As everyone else are waiting. Kitty Cat. I am Kitty Cat. He drew with Killer Chess Padawan. And Rook on the 7th is still going. Versus I am Kitty Cat. White timeout. Black is victorious. Fair enough. As well, he should be. Cool. Now we have to guard the queen. But he didn't. Rook takes, bishop takes, a knight to c7. And there's just not enough time here. Just not enough time. Yep, indeed. I ended up getting pushed, right? To 8th. I ended up getting pushed to 8th place, even though I was in 5th place before. At least I got a good clip in with me in 5th place. That was good. Yes, I am Kitty Cat. Got ahead of me. Am I in danger of losing the under 2100 spot? That's the only thing that matters. So here we are, Jacob, Killer Chess Padawan. Etc., etc., and so on, and so on. It's all good. Could not quite finish in the titled area with the 4.5 pointers, but c'est la vie. I wanted to see if there are 6 heats in this year's championship. Top 2 finishers overall and under 2100 that will play a match to determine the winner of each category. All right. So I have a chance. I just have to rearrange my lesson to take place at noon every Sunday for the next 6 Sundays. But at least we know it takes 3.5 hours now. 3.5 hours for a 15 plus 3 Swiss. And I lost to 2 masters, and I managed to not jettison myself against anyone else. So I lost to 2226, 2280, Maria, Querca, Kuskov, No Mercy for the King, and Stas. That last one versus Stas was very hairy. He should have agreed to a draw. This one was the wing gambit, and this one was I could have played for the bishop and knight mate as well. Basically, knowing how to checkmate with a bishop and a knight versus not having to play for the win with a bishop and a knight. So in this position, this king had to move away from the pawn. I take the pawn, I promote the pawn, yada, yada, yada. Would have gone for the Rosen Trophy if I could have, but let's not risk it. Certainly would have been cool. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. Thank you all for being here. Killer chess training, 5th place finish. Very cool. Equal 5th place finish? No. Equal 7th place finish. I do believe in the 1,000 best of the best. Speech chat. Let's turn it back on again. For those who are here, well, thank you for being here. It was very cool. Quite the special event, I will admit. Please join the dojo. We will decide who we're going to do here. We need a chess streamer, or do we? Is anyone else streaming? I don't know. We'll see how many we have to raid. If we only have 1 viewer raiding, I am not going to raid. I am not going to raid. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for being here. Cheers and ciao. 2026 Killer Chess Training Club Championship Heat number 1 is finished. I was very impressed with everyone. I appreciate you. Namaste. Ciao. And see you next time.